So I figured I'd take some time and talk about my entry here on the Russell. I took a short this morning right at 1663, so right at the high. There were a few reasons why I took it, but with no structure around there and being in all-time highs, I figured it'd be worthwhile to dive into why I took it a little bit and how I built out that structure. So my entry, you can see, was dead at 1663, right at the top. Got my stop trailed, uh, sitting just at the last bid was at 1656.10. So it's already taken quite a bit of a dive right off the top. And how do you come up with that type of an entry when there's no structure around it, when they're in all-time highs? Well, the first thing is I'm looking at the 4-hour chart and I'm starting to calculate, how price has moved over the last couple of months and over the last couple of weeks, and kind of where I think we're going to settle. So going into the day, I had negative 23.6. I had this extension right here, right at 1663, 1664 level. I had that highlighted. That was going to be the first place I was going to start looking for price to slow down. Then if you start to build that out a little bit off of the retracement, you can see that we blew past the negative 23.6. And this is off of the little impulse run we had. See the ABCD held, validating our fib structure, right? Because we blew past the negative 23.6 right here. So that extension never really mattered. You can see there was a little bit of profit taken there, but we never saw a substantial run out of that level. And so the negative 23.6 did not hold really. We tagged that ABCD completion, and then we started to get some bears out of it. And so the negative 61.8 to me was still valid. So I left that on there. Then if you start to look at kind of this high to high run here, right where we broke through some important structure. So you look high to high and you get a decent retracement. And then your high to high ABCD is actually just above all of this. So that was where my initial stop was above all of this structure here. So we've got our high to high ABCD completion just above. And then from there, you start to build out some structure, right? Obviously, when I say build out structure, we're not building out anything that that you can tangibly look left and find, but instead building out structure that grab the wrong one. Building out structure that might actually take shape, that's a bit more anticipatory, right? So we've got a little bit of a wedge that's been forming. And now we've got some decent structure. Now we've got a pretty precise level to look at. You find the hourly chart, and right there, you get a lot of confluence right around that one piece of structure that we've built out. It doesn't exist, but it's something we built out. Then you add in the shorter term stuff, right? So we've got this move off of this retracement. All right, we get a nice move down after not really filling the top of that channel, and then we take off from this little piece of structure here, which is right around the strong moves out of the gap, right? Gap up, and then we get another strong fill up. So there's some volume here, albeit for no true reason. You could have found a retracement, right? That sat right at the 50% retracement of the gap up, but that acted over the course of time as some significant support and resistance. So as we take off from that, I'm going to use that as my anchor. And now we have that extension completion right at the top. Then you take that move, right? We take this little spike here, take that move, and you add, no, that didn't snap the way I wanted it to. And you add, right? You take that move and you add a little bit of a channel topper. We don't need it because we've already got a lot of confluence there, but it just adds to our structure. And then you look for where you could potentially take your profits. It's all-time highs. I'm not looking to be holding for a crazy amount of time. So what I came up with was a quick scalp, and I say quick relatively here, but come up, fill these levels, enter short, entered right at 1663, so I was right in this zone. Then you look for your first take profit target, which for me was right here, right at the last bit of significant structure. Again, that's relative because you can pull it down a little bit. It's not an exact level, but that's where I took profit, right at that 1656 level. So I think it was 1656.10 was where I took my profit. Just a quick little scalp off of all-time highs, filling some structure that did not exist. So building your own structure, quick scalp, no need to hold for any significant amount of time. You know, you saw in the screenshot, that's more than enough to make a fairly decent little profit to kind of close out the morning. So just want to do a quick analysis of why I entered, and from there, if there are any questions or comments, please let me know. Hope this helps.